Video, I'm going to show you how to set up a data sheet. I use this format both as a teacher and as an administrator. When I was a teacher, I would use this to track just my own class. As an administrator, I use this to track multiple classes, basically have a spreadsheet for each grade level. And the goal of these kind of data sheets is to show you one in a snapshot how a whole group of students is doing, whether it's by class or by grade level, and two, to provide enough detail that you can track individual students over time. The goal is to make sure that no teachers or students are falling in the cracks, and that you are helping kids when before it's too late. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting students' names here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to skip down a line, and I'm going to just highlight a whole row. Now I can do it that way, or I can take a shortcut and just click on the three and it'll highlight the whole row. And I use colors quite a bit to kind of break up these rows. So because I'm going to be doing one with multiple teachers, I'm going to put the teacher's name here. I'm going to bold it, and I'm going to change the color as well. So that's the teacher's name. Now I can go ahead and put in the students' names. I can see this one kind of is a bit too big for this column. One way you can quickly resize those columns is to highlight it, move until your arrow gets the little double arrows there. Then if you double click on it, it'll just resize it for you. So I've got all the names. Now up here, I'm going to be putting the assessments. So the first assessment, let me just put in, let's say I want to track running records. If you don't know what those are, it's not really important. That's just the important part is just the name of the assessment. And I want to track the middle of the year, or the beginning of the year running records, middle of the year, and end of year. Okay, that doesn't look particularly pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these three cells. I'll go up to Format, Merge, Merge All. Okay, and then I will highlight all of these things. I'm going to center them. I'll bold them as well. And then I'll draw some borders around them so you can kind of see the distinct parts. And then what I like to do also is to just differentiate between those. I'm going to turn those a light gray. So I have running records, middle of the year, beginning of year, middle of year, end of year. I'm going to highlight all of these cells, and I'm going to put some borders on those as well. It just makes it easier to track. Now, if I was just doing a single class, I'd move on from here. But if I'm going to put in multiple classes, like maybe I want to put a whole grade on one sheet, I'll highlight that across again. I'll put in the next teacher's name. Again, I'm just going to bold it and change the text color just to help differentiate that. And then I would put in a whole another set of names. Let me get those names for us here real quick. There we go. And then I'll highlight all of these as well. Now you notice when I scroll down there, if my spreadsheet gets too long, all that information I typed up there disappears, and I might forget which column is which. So to stop that from happening, what you need to do, I'm going to highlight this whole row, because I want to be able to see running records, beginning of year, middle of year, end of year. I always want to be able to see that. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go up to View, Freeze, up to current row. So what that does is that's going to freeze those top two rows. No matter how far I scroll down, that will always be there. Now that I'm thinking of it, if I add in more of these, that same problem might happen if I scroll this way too far. Now the names disappear, and I don't want that to happen either. So I'm going to highlight this column. I'm going to go up to View, Freeze, freeze one column. Now, no matter how far I go over to the right, the names will always stay there, and no matter how far I go up and down, this will always stay there. That helps navigating these much bigger spreadsheets that take up more than just your screen size. That really helps kind of keep it organized for you. Now, let's say I don't want to just track one of records, I want to track another different assessment. What I do is I like to resize this column. I'm going to use this column as kind of, I'm going to put in like a visual break there. I'll just highlight the whole thing and turn it gray. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let's say I'm going to track iStations. And beginning of year, middle of year, end of year. Let me reformat this just the way I did the other one. So I'll go up to Format, Merge Cells, Merge All. I'm going to highlight everything. I will center it. I'm not going to do that. I'll bold it. I'll put some borders on it as well. I'm going to make these guys that lighter gray just to help me at a glance differentiate. And then I will also go ahead and put in some borders here. Okay, so here I've got all of my students, I've got teachers. Obviously, I could just keep going forever and adding more and more classes. When I do these, I make one for each grade level, and I list every single class in that grade level with all the students. So I have one sheet that I can go to look at. And obviously, I can continue adding assessments over here as well. I'm going to stick with 2 for this one. On the bottom here, we're going to be adding some more stuff. We're also going to be adding some color coding in this, but you'll have to go to the next video to see how I automatically add color coding to all scores and how we quickly and easily put in the proficiency rates down here at the bottom for each class. So you can click on my next video, Demo Datasheet 2, to see how we do that.